Okay, we got cut off a little bit there. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay again. So the last question was do you have any suggestions about how to integrate someone in to teach with you when you're used to teaching on your own and your partner is not used to teaching and is not quite as passionate? Uh, So I was saying that I'm doing the same thing right now. Is I'm used to teaching on my own, and I've been integrating my girlfriend and dance partner, I don't know if I can technically call her my dance partner, but we dance together. She has helped me a lot with things, and she's come and taught with me, and she is currently just watching. Like we went to Hawaii and taught some classes, and she just watched. And she talked little bits here and there, but very little. And she is an amazing dancer and also an amazing instructor. And she still took her time. So I think the first thing to say is let them take their time, because it's important for them to get a sense of what your goals are, what's important to you. And so I would say let them kind of slow build into that. And actually, I've done that with a lot of partners. A lot of times I make it mandatory because the partner is newer to teaching dance or something. I actually ask them, for this class, I'd like you not to say anything about how to do things, right? And it's hard for me to do that because I do want people to share their opinions. But at the same time, it's a slippery slope when you're hiring someone to work with you and you have students that expect a certain quality from you, a certain, and also just a certain belief system or something that they expect from you. And so if your partner doesn't know what they're doing, they could take you off track with that. And I have had some partners that did do that where it was like our classes would just go way out in left field talking about things that I just did not want to talk about during class because they weren't important to improving their dancing. So eventually I started going, okay, I want people to first watch and understand what I do. And then I want them to start integrating slowly, little bits here, and talk to me first. Come to me and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? And then, okay, yeah, that's good. Go ahead and share, And then once I feel comfortable and confident with the person, then I give them free rein to go ahead and share their ideas whenever. So that's kind of the process that I go to integrate someone. If the person is less passionate and less, if they're just less passionate about it, I don't know that they need to be that involved, in it. You might use them more as like the person to demo things with, the person that puts on the music, the person that calls rotate. There's a lot of logistical things that are really important, and people take them for granted, and they're not. They're very important things, and it can be really helpful to have someone that's on top of the rotations, on top of making sure music is playing as soon as you're ready for it to be playing. Just being aware of the general atmosphere of the room and giving you feedback. I feel like they're slowing down. I feel like they're getting tired. Just to let you know what the energy of the room is, because you've got your track of what you're doing. So it doesn't always have to be traditional 50-50, they both share information. It is nice because a lot of people like to hear the other side. You know, if you're a lead, they want to hear the follow's voice. And if you're a follow, they want to hear the lead's voice. So it is nice to be able to have that. And at the same time, they want it when it, like, if it doesn't end up being valuable for them, they're not going to want it, right? They want to hear it, but if the person speaking is just not they're stumbling over their words, they're not, they're saying things that doesn't make sense, anything like that is not going to help. So don't have someone speak just to have them speak. That's my suggestion. I'd have them speak when they have important ideas, you know, and when they can share those ideas really well. And of course, also testing them out in different situations. You know, if I'm teaching in front of 300 people at Lindy Focus or Lindy Shock or Ring Dance Camp, it's less test time, you know. I'm not going to test things and experiment as much as I am in my own local scene. I'm going to experiment more. So think about your own classes. What are your big classes? What are your classes that you can test? Oh, and then the other question is, do you specifically have them sit on the side and observe the class, or mix them in the partner rotation? I have them in the partner rotation for sure, because I need them to be able to do what it is I'm talking about as well. And so no matter what the level they are, they can always improve. I'm in the class. I'm in the rotation too. When I'm teaching, I'm in the rotation and I'm working with everyone so I can feel how other people are doing. And it also keeps me on my game because I need to be able to do everything that I'm teaching with anyone. That's my goal. I want to be able to show people, look, this is not hard. I can do this. You can do this. If I can do this with this person, you can do it with this person, right? So there's no excuses for people of like, oh, well, sure, you're doing it with your dance partner. So I'm often choosing people in the rotation to work with, and my partner's in the rotation, learning, improving, just like I'm in the rotation, learning and improving. I suppose it's possible for them to observe if there was a purpose for it, like they were taking notes and they were trying to improve me. I have hired teachers to come into my class and sit and observe and take notes and observe and then give them to me afterward and say, hey, this is where I think you could improve as a teacher. You know, so if that were your goal, then observing might make sense. But a lot of times you can observe while you're experiencing, and when you experience, you get more value than when you just observe, I believe, unless there's a reason that you need to sit out. That's my suggestion. Any other questions on that topic? Otherwise, I'm going to move on. So the next question is, making every dance amazing. My class, right, making every dance amazing, has had a huge positive impact on me. But I am wondering how to make sure that my technique and feel stays at a high level. I find when dancing with beginners or people with poor technique a whole bunch, I feel less capable of dancing with more advanced people. Okay, so I think it really depends on what your focus is, right? For me, my focus is often about matching my partner, right? And really analyzing my own body to be able to match my partner. So for me, when I do that with someone with poor technique, I'm not building that as a habit. I'm not building their movement as a habit. What I'm building as a habit is matching my partner, right? Now, if I were to come into that dance thinking I'm going to try to move in a goofy way, or move, like, if my focus was different, if it was on I'm going to move awkwardly, then maybe I would eventually only move awkward, right? But my goal isn't to move awkward. My goal is to match my partner. So then when I get to a new partner that has a different technique that maybe is more good, right, then I immediately start focusing on matching them. So for me, that's what I do to do things. Although, I mean, it depends. There are some techniques that it's not about matching for me to improve. It sometimes is something different. What's an example? Well, I'm just going to throw out an example, and let's see if it's matching or not matching. That improves that technique. So, in the example of my partner is rough, right? If my partner is kind of rough in their movements, then my goal is now recognize, first off, it's important to recognize what rough is, right? Rough is really technically fast, right? It's a quick engagement of muscles, right? So what I'm doing with that partner that's rough is I'm not trying to be rough. I'm trying to learn to engage my muscles quickly, right? Very quickly with them, so that as soon as they engage, I engage, right? And then that's an extremely valuable skill to match, because if you can. The problem most of the time is, like, if you get someone that's really rough, they're just asking you to do something that requires so many years of practice to get that fast at firing your muscles, that the only way to handle it is to just kind of walk up and always fire your muscles. Unless you're really skilled and you're able to fire, release, fire, release, fire, release, right? Because you need to be able to do that. You need to be able to fire, release, really fast with someone that's really, like, jerking you around. So with them, I think if you have the ability to match them, that will improve your dancing a lot, because there are very few people in the world that I can do what I just did, like fire, release, that fast, and they'll match it, right? Most people, as a lead, I have to slow down. I have to do things much, much slower to dance with them. But that means I'm limited in my dancing, right? I can only do things at a certain speed, because if I go faster, my partner, their body will fall out of alignment, and it won't look pretty. It won't look nice. So as a lead, I just don't do those things that fast when I can feel that my partner can't react that fast. So in that case, matching your partner, if you have the ability to match that speed, is gonna, or if you're close to having that ability. Obviously, you might not have the ability, but if you're getting close, then you're improving and you're getting closer to having that ability. Then you can dance with super advanced dancers that require that, but do it for purpose, right? The problem with the beginner, or someone that's not as good, that's rough, is they're not doing it for a reason, right? Whereas someone who's advanced is doing it with music on timing and things that make sense. And so they're able to transition, boom, 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 because they hear music go boom, boom, boom. So I think that's an example of matching would be very valuable. At the same time, sometimes you want to go limp with that type of person, or you want to go just completely all strong, and that's not matching. That's compensating for someone, inability to make you dance comfortably, right? You compensate by either getting really rough, really stiff, or just complete loosey-goosey spaghetti arms with almost no connection. And in those cases, that's valuable to practice. But the important thing is to recognize that you're practicing that, right? If you're practicing that, like, okay, I'm going to try to always be on, or I'm going to try to always be off, is really being aware the whole time that that is your goal, right? As opposed to just kind of falling into the habit of that because you're dancing with someone that dances in a way that you feel you need to do that, right? And in fact, I would look for moments where you don't have to do that, because all dancers dance differently. There's moments of roughness, there's moments of not, right? So with that person that's like forcing you to feel like you need to be like this, or be completely relaxed, I would look for the moment where you can change. You know, is that 1 second, 5 seconds, half the song? How long can you, when are the moments that you can change? Because it's that I think is the habit that you want to build. You want to build the habit of choosing when you're doing something and choosing when you're not doing it, right? And changing between those things, so that you can dance well, yeah, with anyone. That's what I practice all the time. And I don't notice, I mean, maybe I'm oblivious, but I don't notice quality go down when I dance with higher level people. I just notice a quality go up. But it is it's a subtle but very important difference between focusing on, like, you know, not getting hurt during a dance versus changing when you need to change, right? Adjusting how your body is working with your partner when you need to with that partner. Yeah, I want you to get in the habit, basically, of your body constantly reacting and constantly choosing to react rather than getting in a habit of something and doing something. It's constantly choosing to do something. Or I guess if there is a habit, it's the habit of constantly choosing versus the habit of just doing X. You know, being stiff, being loose, whatever. So let's take an example also as a lead. So that was an example as a follow, what you would do. Let's take an example of what if a follow is crazy, right? Bad dancer. How does a lead react? So let's say a follow is self-dipping all the time. She just throws herself into dips without you leading them, or you lead something that maybe seems like a dip, but it's not, and then they throw them in to it. So as a lead, you can match it or you can not match it, right? Now, recognize that the first thing to do is to recognize what a dip is, right? If a follow puts herself into a dip, she's putting herself into some form of counterbalance, right? Counterbalance is just using your partner's weight to stay in balance, right? Or in this case, in a self-dip, she might not even be using your weight. She's throwing her weight off balance, but the only way that she doesn't hit the floor is by you either using your weight to balance it out or using your strength, right? Most of the time I find people use their strength and they tense up and they go, oh, I got you, right? My recommendation is to use your weight, to treat it like they're leading counterbalance. They're going into counterbalance, so you go into counterbalance too, and then you don't have to use a lot of strength. So if they throw themselves into a dip, let me show an example, right? So if the follow goes like this, right, and you're here, catching it here, instead of going, oh God, and holding on like this, their weight's going that way, so you go boom, and catch it backward, or something where your weight is going the opposite way of them. As soon as you see their body start to go that way, your body starts to go the opposite way to counter that weight. And then what ends up happening is you get these really nice dips that look good. Instead of like, you get this like great pose from it with long stretched lines. So in that case, matching works really well, right? Now, if you don't have the ability to match your partner quickly, right? If they go into it too fast for you, then matching doesn't help. You're too late, right? So in that case, the thing to do might be to let up on that person and not give them as much support during the dance, right? So what I mean by support is if you put your hand on their back and they feel that, then they're going to feel confident to go back and into a dip. If they're a self-dipper, they're going to feel more confident than if you just never had your hand on their back, right? If you only held their hands, they'd probably never throw themselves into a self-dip. And of course, it depends on the dips that they're used to and things like that. But whatever support they're used to having, if you don't give them that support, they aren't going to do that dip, right? Now, again, like you can do this, and a lot of people might get in, well, I'm going to get the bad habit of never giving my partner support. And I would say that's where the importance is of the way you think when you're doing this, when you're dancing with this person. Are you thinking, I'm never going to give them support? Or are you thinking, when can I give them support and when do I take it away? Right? And as soon as whenever I feel like, no, don't give them support, don't give them it, like, so that, obviously, don't do it, like, right as they're dipping. That would be mean, right? But, like, think about, are there certain positions where you can give them support and you know there's no way they're going to try to do a self-dip? You're just confident in that. What are those moments? And give them support at those moments and not at other moments, right? And so some people, you might feel so scared to dance with them that you have to literally do a solo dancing, not touching each other, and just kind of do this and visually lead and follow. You know, that would be an extreme case. I doubt too many people have that, but even then you might choose that, right? You're consciously choosing, I'm going to dance this full dance in open position. And then someone else who might choose, okay, here, or not open, in solo dance position, not touching each other. Then someone else who might touch hands but never their back. Some people you might touch their back, but only on certain points where it's really easy for you to already be countering them. But the point is that you're constantly choosing when to give support versus when not to, so that you're building a habit of choosing when to give support. So that if you have a good dancer, right, someone who's not going to give you a self-dip, you've got a habit of choosing to give them support when you feel comfortable with it, right? Which is when ideally you would want to do it anyway. Even with a good dancer, right, you want to give them support at times, but not all the time. Maybe there's some people you want to give support all the time. So that's my personal opinion. If you want to improve your dancing and have a positive impact, work on improving, with everyone, not just beginners but advanced dancers, is really look at what is the core issue that I want to improve, right? And how do I make a choice on my body reacting in that way rather than just getting in a habit of always reacting one way. Any questions on that? Pop them in. Otherwise, I think that's the last question for today. And we're out of time. So if you do have any other questions, feel free to send them to coachingquestions@danceninjas.com. But I'm going to start ending these right on time from now on because I'm in a room that I hire out for an hour and a half. So I only have a little leeway on each end to clean up and to get out. So I'm going to be a little bit more specific with the exact times so that we can have this nice room, which I think the quality of the internet connection is a lot better. And yeah. Anyway, if you have, I was also told the acoustics in this room are much better as well. So that's good. Any other questions? Again, I'm not going to take them today. Just pop them in another time. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys very much. And Dance Ninjas out.